Oh, wow, he's gone chuny on us. He's a dark slime now. Maybe he's entering his blue period. Hey folks, I'm Jacob, this is Weebservations, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Season 2 premiere of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which I shall heretofore refer to as Slime Time. If you just want to see my live reaction, you can pop on over to this time code where it starts. But first, I thought I would give a brief overview of my thoughts on Season 1 on the whole, because I would say that I am a fan of Slime Time, at least more so than a lot of other isekai series. And the stuff I like about it is all stuff that's present like right there at the beginning. Immediately the show has a sense of humor about itself that a lot of isekai power fantasies type stuff, which this still falls in the mold of, and we'll get to that, but it really kind of avoids. Usually it's a disgruntled or sort of blank slate kind of 17-year-old character who never leaves his house, and then one day on his way to the Konbini he gets hit by a truck or something like that and ends up in a parallel world. Slime Time immediately differentiates itself, thank God, by its victim of reincarnation being a 37-year-old general contractor who has life experience and emotional temperance and like a specific, he's not like an outstanding, unique, heroic kind of character, but he's not like just a teenager of the kind who might be watching this with very few personal attributes that are anything except for like blandly positive or uncomfortably negative. Rimuru immediately has a great sense of humor about himself. The last thing he says before he dies to his friend who is there, you know, holding him in death as he passes on is "blast my cash," and isn't that relatable? It immediately lets you kind of know what you're in for. This is not a show that's taking itself terribly seriously about this hero who's taking over this. Functionally, when you're watching an isekai, you're watching somebody speedrun a JRPG that doesn't exist. Right? That's kind of what's going on. And so playing that JRPG as a slime, automatically, well, you've got to have a laugh about it. It's got to be kind of funny. And Rimuru has, even though I wouldn't call it a comedy overall, he has a great sense of humor, and the show has a great sense of humor about itself. Working as a salaryman for so many years, Rimuru has had to develop leadership skills and like the ability to cooperate with other kinds of people and a sort of self-assurance about himself and what he likes, and humility that's just really refreshing, having this character in this role that's usually occupied by much younger, more ill-defined, more irritating and emotionally volatile characters. This is the kind of guy that you can see, it doesn't feel, he is overpowered and he's lucky in that he gets all of these abilities that make everything such a non-issue for him, but you believe his personality is the kind of, you know, he's the kind of guy who could actually get all this stuff done with those resources. Where he's not blundering into it and being carried by the surplus of his powers. It's this guy with a lot of power kind of deserves it and knows how to wield it in a way that makes you want to root for him. And what is his mission? Well, he wants to improve the lives of monsters in this JRPG world, which is a huge fan of monsters I'm all about. I think if I got reincarnated, not just as a slime, but as a human, I would be, where are the monsters at? I want to live in monster civilization. Screw humanity. Where are the goblins? So since he is a slime, his life's quest is kind of to improve the lives of monsters, bring their civilizations together, because largely they've been suffering because they're too busy warring with each other to reckon with human civilization and how it's advanced, and humans all hate monsters to begin with. So he's building a monster nation that can kind of stand up alongside the human nations. And that's cool. That's a great premise. That's exciting. You really love all the characters that he falls in love with, and it seems fitting that he would be their leader. Like, sure, the smallest, even the smallest person can change the course of the future or something like that, even if they're blue and slimy. But there's also things I didn't care for in the show. Mostly just the limitations of the, I don't want to say genre, because if you want to get into what is and isn't isekai, is the 12 Kingdoms isekai, is Inuyasha isekai? Like, when I say isekai, I mean, like, a character who is usually a nerd, dies or is otherwise transported into another world where he's like the only person who's like us and everyone else is like an NPC, and none of them are that complex compared to him. And if there's other people from his world there, it's usually very rare, but it feels like you're watching one character in a JRPG world with a bunch of NPCs that, you know, maybe they have characters or traits and stuff like that, but they just feel like another character you would unlock in Fire Emblem Heroes or something like that. They're not on par with the main character, which is especially frustrating when that main character is like a dopey teenager who really needs somebody on his level of development to clash with. And usually there isn't that. In the case of Rimuru, we have a character who is fairly likable and more fleshed out, but all the other characters are still kind of NPCs. The most that we get in complexity is there are other reincarnates like him who also come from his world and have this like more emotionally nuanced layer of motivations and feelings and ability to relate to him because they know what stuff is from our world. So it's great that those characters are there, but it's not really a substitute for most of the cast being monsters and humans who worship the ground Rimuru walks on, or else they don't like him and then are won over when he does something good. They feel like video game characters. It feels like you're watching this really nice, likable guy play a video game as a slime. And it's a limitation of not the genre, but we'll say what people think of when they think of the genre isekai. It does not actually challenge any of those limitations of complexity. It still feels like a power fantasy, even if it's one that's more fun to watch and root for. It does not ever not become kind of a power fantasy. And something that's not exclusive to isekai, there is a show that's like very much not an isekai, but everybody thinks of it as an isekai because it has this, which is it wrong to try to pick up girls in a dungeon? I don't like video game mechanics being supplanted for real world things. There's literally a sequence in Slime Time where the great sage that lives in Rimuru's head, which I do feel is like one of the lamest parts of the story because it's the most power fantasy thing ever, literally takes over and runs like an autopilot combat program while he figures out an out-of-the-box way to defeat his enemy. So Rimuru is literally doing nothing in his own head. He goes into autopilot and Great Sage just, I guess, like temporarily sort of takes over his body and makes him an awesome badass in combat. And it sucks. I don't like it. I don't like stuff that's like too literal video game. I like worlds, fantasy worlds, that feel real and lived in and not like press a button and this thing replicates. It takes me out of it. It's kind of lame. I guess all of Slime Time's flaws can kind of be boiled down to it's a mild experience. It's a mild entertainment experience, and all of the emotions that you get from it are mildly positive. And so if that's the meanest thing that you can say about a show is that it's unambitious and just kind of makes you feel nice without ever pushing any boundaries, it could be a lot worse. What I hope to see from Season 2 and going forward is more reincarnates, because people who are from Rimuru's world always make the story more interesting. It gives you more characters to latch onto, and also, wouldn't it be cool if some of those reincarnates disagreed with him and became foes? I want to see him face more challenging, morally ambiguous, just anything will help my investment in this otherwise very pleasant experience. Anything would pull me in more if there was more consternation and conflict, especially with people from Rimuru's world. That would be cool. That's what I want to see. All right, with that out of the way, let's jump right into Slime Time, Episode 1 of Season 2. Here we go. He spent an awful lot of time with these kids so far, and Oh, okay. I was actually about to say, I hope he's moving back to his village soon, because he spent an awful lot of time with these kids, and is cute and all, and I'm glad that he was able to fulfill his promise to it's kind of weird, the girl whose form he takes on all the time. It's a little eerie, but in a cool way. That's what happens when you have a slime as a main character. Weird, creepy shit like that happens. And it's not like boring, typical creepy stuff that you see in an isekai, where it's like, oh, well, you know, he has a slave girl who's 400 but looks like she's 10. I'm a slime, so I ate my friend when she died so I could look like her. I'd have to eat some other human who didn't want to die, I guess, otherwise. So, yeah, he just looks like that now. You gotta deal with it. Anyway, I'm glad he's going back home to the village, because I was getting a little tired of these, I'm getting tired of this babysitting stuff. Get back to the monster village so we can have monster truck rallies. That's what they do. Oh, now he can just teleport anywhere. That's very convenient. I feel like his wolf guy is gonna be disappointed that he's out of a job. Uh-oh, it looks like this is gonna be one of those Season 2 premieres where they mostly recap what happened in Season 1. I done been seen Season 1. I had more than a year to rewatch it if I wanted to. I saw all the OVAs, most of which were pointless. Attack on Titan and Promised Neverland did not pull this shit. They knew what we were here for. Get back to the action! Oh hey, there's something I forgot to add to the things I'm not crazy about in the show. Milim. It's not that she looks like an underage girl and is actually an ancient demon lord. That by itself is not really my problem, because the show isn't, like, weird about her necessarily in that regard. It just bothers me that, like, all I had to do to win her over was feed her. And I feel like it should have been harder than that, that's all. I just feel like it should have been a little more difficult. He just gave her, like, candy, and she's like, yep, I'm on your side. It's like, no one else tried that in the bazillions of years that she's been a demon lord? Nobody else just gave her food and became her best friend? I find that hard to believe. Oh, wow, he's gone chuny on us. He's a dark slime now. Maybe he's entering his blue period. Oh, look at the little emblem on his helmet is himself. Which is funny, like, he didn't do that. That was a gift. So somebody made that, they custom made him a samurai armor thing with his head on it. I don't know. Like, I know the appeal of these stories is like, you too, even this one, which I like more than many others, you too, gamer, could be a king among plebs if you got reincarnated in a JRPG world. But like, okay, he looks pretty good in that. That's a good style choice. It goes with the androgyny. It's, you know, it's cool. Not quite feminine, not quite masculine, but very much a man or woman or a them of authority, I think. So that's a good look. But anyway, and this whole reincarnated into another world scheme, like, I feel like this show actually brings it more to the forefront than most. The amount of responsibility seems kind of exhausting, doesn't it? Like, it's not just women waiting on you hand and foot and people giving you great gifts. You gotta do a lot of shit, and you gotta live up to all the incredible things people are giving you. If somebody gave me a custom suit of armor with my face on it, or I guess my entire body if I was a slime, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I would just be like, I don't deserve this. Alright, so we're on the edge of a war here. That's what I'm talking about. Responsibilities. It's not all fun and games getting reincarnated as a slime in another world. You gotta be really self-assured. You definitely can't have imposter syndrome. I guess you could, actually. Wait a minute. Having imposter syndrome is basically what being a slime is all about. Oh, Gabiru. Am I the only person who liked Gabiru when he didn't have wings and was green and was a bigger loser? Justice for pre-evolution Gabiru. He should have turned down the Thunderstone is what I'm saying. Those fireworks aren't slime-shaped. I'm disappointed. Fire the guy who makes your fireworks. Fire the dwarf who was responsible for this pyroclastic embarrassment. It should have slime faces in them. It's me! Evil penis mushroom. I mean, look, all mushrooms, I guess it's sort of, it naturally looks phallic, but that one, it had little testicles for feet and everything. Yeah, I'm glad it's dead, too. I want them to just keep panning out, and you never see the tip of the sword. Like, it pans out to the whole field, and there's the little girl, and there's the mushroom monster's remains, and the sword is still going. Look, I understand why he likes to travel that way. If you had a secretary who looked like that, and you fit under there, you probably would choose to travel that way all the time. But I feel like when meeting diplomatic leaders, nestling under a giant rack is probably not the best first impression. See, this is what I'm talking about. I just got through saying that this is not going to be the greatest first impression when meeting a very serious demon lord with, like, super tiger bodyguards and a whole entourage and, tiger-drawn carriages. This man means business. And you're just hanging out under these cans like, hey man, welcome to the kingdom. It's a little disrespectful is all I'm saying. Okay, no, alright, if I'm reincarnated into another world, this world specifically, I guess, I want to come back as a beast Katir. I have no idea what they do, or what their job is, or if they're animals disguised as people, or people who have animal powers. I just want to be called a beast Katir as I want to put that on my resume. Third chair, beast Katir, with a minor in mauling. How could you not? Alright, we're gonna get a fight. That's fine. It's one of the things that keeps this show entertaining is even though it doesn't have the greatest fight animation, just animation in general, most of the time there's jokes, there's gags, there's funnies, there's fun, cute stuff happening while we get bland information. So I'm glad we have an excuse here to just fight. Oh, Shion's gonna fight too. So, which is good, because that other guy's boring. The guy who took credit for beating the monster that Rimuru actually beat is boring. Let's have a chick fight. Come on, give the people what they want. Wow, so all the Beast Katirs are out, and they're just watching this fight happen. Does that mean... Oh, there we go, Beast Katirs Runt. There we go, that's my rank. So while all this is happening... Demon Lord Carrion is just in the carriage. He's in his carrion carriage, and he's just hearing this fracas. And nobody ain't told him nothing about nothing. And this is supposed to improve diplomatic relations? Maybe it does if you're a Demon Lord. Maybe wanton violence that can break out at any moment is the only thing on Earth that you respect. He's just trying to give us something to latch on to for the Season 2 premiere. He's like, sorry, that was like 5 minutes of recap, but now the women are fighting. The big titty ladies are hitting each other with fists and swords, and I hope you'll forgive me for that slow beginning. Alright. Okay. Alright, that was episode 25 of Slime Time, Season 2 premiere. Not a whole lot to say because it did commit the cardinal sin, I guess, that the shows that I've covered so far this winter has not committed yet, which is it's mostly recap and we're just kind of getting into the story a little bit with like a fight scene, but not a whole lot happened. I would be happy to come back to this show for a bigger episode later in the season, and if you know of big episodes that have aired, you can follow me on Twitter and let me know in the future, not just for Slime Time, but for any anime that you would like to see me cover on this channel. Message me on Twitter or on Patreon. Sign up on my Patreon if you would like to directly vote for the kind of stuff that I'm going to cover in the future. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'm still new to this whole YouTube reaction type of thing, but I've heard that liking, commenting, and especially subscribing pleases something called the algorithm baby. So if you would like to help please the algorithm baby and keep me producing content like this, then please like, comment, subscribe, support me on Patreon, follow me on Twitter, and I will see you guys for a hopefully more exciting episode of Slime Time sometime very soon.